3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Sunday episode. We are back with your questions, and thank you guys for leaving all the questions and the birthday wishes. Thank you for leaving the birthday wishes in the comments. I really appreciated that. Let's get right into it here. So first question we have
I'm ready.
is from Kate the Gardener. And Kate the Gardener, thank you for all your comments. You leave a lot of comments. This one in particular, I think you'll enjoy. So the question is, what do you think of realtors who advertise they will buy your home if it doesn't sell by a certain date? Do they have lofty bank accounts? I always wondered about that, especially in this market. Or do they sell it for below asking just so they don't have to buy it off the seller?
I think they should focus on getting the home sold.
Yeah.
Personally. Look, obviously, it's not as simple as, if I don't sell it, I'll buy it. And what price are they buying at? And I know there's other stipulations with it, like they have so much extra time and there's all sorts of fine print involved. Mm-hmm. I know it sounds really simple when they say it. I don't know. I just have never been into those. Our slogan is, we'll sell your home, and that's it. We're going to sell your home. That's our slogan. So,
well, this actually goes back to some marketing tactics that go way, way back in the real estate industry. And so there's this one in particular, and you'll see a lot of different agents. There's some agents that really focus all their marketing efforts on this kind of tagline because it is enticing for a seller, thinking, if I don't sell it by a certain date, then my realtor is guaranteed to buy it. But at the end of the day,
there's so many. They're all designed for one thing, but there's so many. There's another one, move up to this house and I'll buy yours for cash. And there's so many. Mm-hmm. They're all designed for you, the public, to make that initial phone call. That's what they're designed. And so their plan of selling your home and buying it guaranteed, that may not work for you, but they've got you. They're speaking with you. They will get, they're trained for this.
Foot in the door.
The people that answer the phone calls are trained for this. And the whole point is for you to make that initial phone call. That's the point.
Yes. So the next comment here comes from Max Payne 7419. They say, I honestly don't understand. This was with regards to our Toronto video where we're talking about the people that are trying to buy when interest rates are high because they think prices are low, and then sell again once interest rates come down.
The gamblers.
Max Payne says, I honestly don't understand why people invest in real estate versus investing in ETFs. It makes zero sense. Now, as someone who is constantly talking to people who have invested in real estate and been a part of real estate, you've been a part of real estate for a very long time. Why do you think people have this mentality of investing in real estate versus other things?
It's worked out for many, many, many people, and they could relate to it. Real estate, you could touch it, feel it, sleep in it, have your parties in it. You got to live somewhere, mm-hmm. right? And that's just it. You got to live somewhere, and people get it. You got to live somewhere. Why? It's almost like, you've heard the expression, it's a forced saving. So, mm-hmm. so you pay a mortgage, and as long as you're not gambling with it, that's a whole different animal. As long as the plan is to live in it and over years you're going to be there, there's a really, really good chance that value is going to go up. But even if value stays the same, it's almost like a forced savings. And for a lot of people, it's really, really helped them out in retirement. It's when we start messing around with, I need bigger, better, shinier, and oh my God, prices went up. If I take all the money out and buy a fancy car now, it's when you start getting into all the other aspects of wanting more and more and more and more that people get themselves into trouble. But, just people get it. You live in it, you feel it, you touch it. You buy stocks, you buy something else. It's very foreign to a lot of people, and they don't see it. And even if values go down, eventually in time they'll go up again. Whereas other types of investment, we're not talking about, like GICs or guaranteed investments and stuff like that. You're not going to lose on that. But when it comes to other types of investment, you can lose it all. So even in real estate, if prices go down, it's not like you've lost, and the land is not going away.
So another thing I think too, because I actually see when on the back end of our YouTube channel, we get a whole host of metrics that show us basically what you guys watch, what else you guys watch besides our channel.
What?
And yeah, I know
They watch
people
other
do that.
channels?
They watch other
What?
channels, crazy. But I don't think we're putting it up out enough content.
Yeah, we need more.
But
Two
but
shows a day.
one thing I noticed too is that we have a lot of people that watch our channel, but also watch finance channels. And so I think a lot of people on YouTube seeking out information, trying to learn about different types of investments, like they can relate to this comment here as in like, why just real estate? There's other things you can invest in. But you think about, we just talked to a couple recently who had purchased an extra home in Barrie. And I mean, this was just a couple that worked 9 to 5, came home, spent time with their kids. Like they weren't exactly trying to do, they had extra money, but they weren't exactly trying to do anything that would trying to learn about different types of investments, right? For them, they lived in that house. They saw that their primary residence made so much money, and then they decided, you know what, let's buy another one in Barrie. We know it. Again, like you said, we can feel it, we can touch it, we know that the value is there, so let's do it. Yeah.
They get it.
And I think a lot of people are in that situation where they don't have the time to learn about, of course they should, but they don't have the time to learn about everything else. And so they just stick with what they know, right?
And they've learned just by living every day. It's not like they even studied real estate.
Yeah.
They lived it, they've seen someone else do okay with it. And we're not saying this to say, hey, real estate is the best investment. That's not what we're saying. We're answering a question, why do so many people get involved with real estate?
Yeah.
That's why. People have made gazillions of dollars also.
Gazillions.
Yeah, that's a real word. Trust me, it's a real word. And people have made gazillions of dollars in all sorts of other fields.
Can you spell that for us?
I'll spell it later off the air.
Yes, but there's a lot of money to be made in different types of investing too. So real estate's not the only one. But next question here comes from Neil Bertram 1922. And Neil says, and this was with response to our video that we did on about Peel, where the agent basically just tricked the buyer. But Neil says,
he was a real agent? Because we did a couple stories.
Yeah. Well, it was that one, the fake agent with the broker record.
The broker record sent his assistant, an office assistant, to go do the showings and negotiate and do everything. Okay, got it.
So Neil says, don't realtors have a responsibility to the people they represent? The situation might not constitute outright fraud. I think it does.
Yeah.
But it certainly does sound like the broker did not represent their client's needs. I'm thinking formal complaint, maybe a lawsuit.
I agree. Everything you said.
If they ask you, jail 25 years.
A minimum. without parole.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's this kind of stuff that really puts such a bad image on this industry as a whole. But
it is fraud. I mean, you're portraying yourself as...
They were portrayed as an agent.
They were portrayed as... Who knows if they... I don't even know if they had business cards or not. But they did all the duties of a realtor. I use the example, I think, in the video. If you're sitting in a waiting room in a hospital and somebody comes in with a white coat and a stethoscope, you're just going to assume they're a doctor. You're not going to say, wait a minute, let me see your credentials. You just assume they're acting like a doctor. They're a doctor.
Yeah.
This person's acting like a realtor, and he came from the brokerage. They're a realtor.
Yeah.
But they're not. And, look, it's not like we're curing cancer here or anything like that. But we have our rules, and you're going into people's homes, their private residences.
And they're
I don't
handling
know.
people's money. Like it's not something to take lightly.
Absolutely.
It's
No. We don't take this
yeah,
lightly. And yeah, everything, lawsuits,
it's very
losing your
disappointing.
license, to me, the brokerage should be, I'm not even going to get into it. You get me going. I'm going to say something that,
Let's pause that.
yeah, okay.
We'll do that for another day. But yes, actually, so the person that had called us about that, they're filing a formal complaint with Rico. They're going to go through a lawsuit. So hopefully we have a resolution, a good resolution for that. Next question here comes from Mr. What to Do Today. And
I can give him a few things. I got a list. Your mother's giving me a list of stuff I got to get done.
Mr. What to Do Today.
Pass it on to What to Do Today.
Come by here and you can have a lot of stuff to do today. But Mr. What to Do Today says, and this was on the Toronto video, not the condo video, says, can we get price per square foot? Isn't price alone misleading?
It's not misleading. It's not fully accurate. Neither is the home price index. Neither is the median price. Neither is the price per square foot, because we're going to supply you price per square foot. And then the comment's going to be, well, some of these are really old homes and some of these are, real new, brand new, renovated or new construction. Obviously, the price per square foot is different in each one. So that's not fully accurate. And so the big thing here, though, is how do we do that per square foot? We don't know. Like, we'd have to go into every individual sale, go to land registry, to the impact reports, and pull up the square footage. It's not automatically supplied to us. So can you imagine? That would be our full-time job.
We put out one video a year.
What that would be and it would be from a year ago, because that's how long it would take us to do all that. So yes, would it be nice to have it? Yes, but you're going to still have the same situation. It's not totally fully. It would just be a guide. It would be an average price per average square foot. It would be a guide. So it's not a perfect system. This is meant to guide you. If you're really, really, really getting deep into the weeds, you're about to do a sale or a purchase, that's the most important data. What's happening right now at the moment in your neighborhood. What we're showing you is a guide to generally tell you, I think, a lot more than what you can get anywhere else, but it's still just a guide. It's not totally 100%, foolproof, or, it's a guide.
Yeah. And I think that we put so many different metrics together to kind of paint the entire picture, right? People look at average price, but there's, months of inventory, there's active listings, there's, new listings, like all those things are put together to try and paint the entire picture of what's happening. And so sometimes you look at some things like, in townhouses, we talk about that all the time, right? Prices for townhouses is like a roller coaster, bumpiest roller coaster ever.
There's only a few sales, and the prices range from 800 to 3 million.
Yeah. So actually, you know what? This would be a good question for everyone that's watching, because we were talking about potentially combining semis and towns.
We got a question for them?
We got a question for them, awesome. Actually. Yeah. So what do you think about for the Toronto video, if we were to combine prices for semis and towns? Because when we look at the data, the numbers are kind of similar. Price points are kind of similar. I mean, you got the new townhomes, you got the new semis. We see some similarities. So we're thinking about it. Leave your comments down below if you think that's a good idea. And so let's get into the next question here, or next comment here. We'll take, this one comes from Vert911. And Vert911, in quotation marks, says, your titles are too negative. Don't hate the playa, hate the game.
Is that what it said? Yeah. Your titles are too negative? Does he have a question mark?
Yeah, well, he's got a quotation mark. Oh. So anyone that says your titles are too negative.
So he's supporting us.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
I'm the player.
Vert That is exactly, you put into words what I couldn't. That's exactly what I meant to say last week. Don't hate the play, I hate the game.
Playa. How does it spell that?
Playa. Yeah,
Playa.
he
Playa.
spelled it the right way. He
Playa.
spelled it the right way. So next comment here comes from Lynn Spencer 7753. And so this was last week when we talked about vacant properties, and we talked about
We
how
talk about a
I
lot
know
of
we talked
stuff,
about too
man.
much stuff. But
If it wasn't for you reminding me which show
I
these,
know,
like
I know.
holy smokes.
But we talked about how some people prefer to leave their properties vacant because of the hassles of dealing with the tenant. And Lynn Spencer
Absolutely.
asks, what about the tax on vacant properties if they don't have someone living in the unit? And I can say that these people that we know that have chosen to leave their properties vacant are perfectly fine with paying those taxes in order to leave it vacant. And sometimes there's some loopholes too that people get creative.
You can get very creative,
Yeah.
and there's vacant, and then there's kind of sort of vacant, and then it's occupied by owner,
Mm.
but no one's really there.
Yeah.
You
They
can
got
get
they got a lamp and they got a single seat sofa in
Yeah.
there. Oh, we see it all the time. But anyways, so next comment here comes from Vitali S07. And Vitali says, and why would anyone selling now? Why would anyone be selling now when prices are low? Unless it's some very small percent that is forced to sell, it's time to buy or look for a great deal to buy.
By that comment, you're kind of looking at the general overall average. You're not really looking at the specific situations of people. So when you look at the overall, yeah, the markets, they're a bit down, and depending on which charts you're looking at, they could be flat now for several months. It all depends. So, why would somebody sell when prices are a little bit lower? And if they just waited, at some point, prices are going to be higher. Yeah, there's logic to that. But what if you see an opportunity? What if you've outgrown the house you're in and you see an opportunity to move up because it's the more expensive properties that have taken the biggest beating in price adjustments here, we'll call it, or depreciation, whatever you want to call it. It's the more expensive properties that have come down more.
Mhm.
Well, you may be in a financial situation where you're fairly strong, and even though yours is selling less, yours is a lower priced home.
Mhm.
That price,
The gap
the
there.
gap is now closer together between what you're selling and what you want to buy, and maybe you see an opportunity. I'm just giving you one example. What if you're moving out of the province for a job opportunity, and it's a really good opportunity, and it makes, and you don't want to rent, you don't want to have the issue of staying on top of a property if you're not even in the province, or even if you're across the street, you may not want to rent it out. There's all sorts of reasons why people sell. The vast majority, we see sales are down, so the vast majority are not. But there are always people transacting for personal reasons. It makes sense to them.
Yeah, and I think one thing that actually shocked me when we were doing the yearly charts is like prices. I mean, if you go by our titles, prices
Off
have
a cliff.
fallen off a cliff,
Fallen off a cliff.
but they really haven't moved too much. And so it's interesting because they're talking about unless it's some very small percentage that is forced to sell. I think if
No,
people
they're
are
not forced to sell.
I think
There are for sure people forced to
yeah,
sell
but I
for
think if
financial reasons, right?
if more people were forced to sell, you'd probably see that moving a little bit more.
Yes.
Prices moving down a little bit more, but we're not really seeing that right now. So next comment here comes from Tony Simone 2043, and Tony is talking about the special assessment that we talked about in last week's video.
Okay.
So it was a $70,000 special assessment, and he says $70,000. Wow, big number. What about assessment insurance? So now, I did a little bit of research on
Is there
this.
assessment insurance?
So I did a little bit of research on this, and
Take it away.
So there is some form of special assessment insurance. I think a lot of people get confused with the condo's insurance coverage versus like the owner's
The
insurance
homeowners, yeah.
coverage. But there is, from what I read, I believe there's an owner's insurance coverage that has an option for a special assessment coverage. But you got to be very careful, because I've read reviews of people that have purchased this special assessment coverage that didn't end up covering their special assessment. So basically, I don't think it's like a widely
So it's give us
known.
extra premium
Yeah,
coverage.
yeah,
is what
I
it
think
is.
it is. So I think it's. I don't think it's a widely like a widespread policy. It's supposed to cover, if I'm not mistaken, like the a gap from what the condo board's insurance policy covers. But yeah, it's apparently it's very nuanced. And so if you are looking into insurance for a condo, ask your insurance provider about that, but try and be very, very, very clear as to what it covers, because some people were paying that extra premium and not necessarily receiving the
I
benefits.
didn't even know that
Yeah,
insurance existed.
I didn't either. I thought that was yeah. That
What
was,
a team we
I
made.
know, right?
Good
So,
for you.
thank you, Tony, for putting
Good
us
for
on
you.
to the putting us on to that. But next question here comes from Kazumka. And Kazumka says, I love your tabletop. Do you know what the style is called and where I can get one like it? Kazumka, this we bought from the Brick.
What's the name of this edge?
It's a live. It's technically called a live edge.
Live edge.
Yes. So this we bought from the Brick many
Your
moons ago.
mother bought it
Yeah.
for something else, and we stole it.
Yes. So it was from the Brick, but it was a long time ago. You can try and find it. It's like a bar height. So yeah, if you can find it online, you can get it. Okay, so last comment here comes from Rachel H5641. And Rachel says, as a longtime renter who is preparing to buy within the next few years, I really appreciate all the stories you share and your realistic takes on home buying, selling, and the market. I've learned so much. There are few agents being so open and educating people instead of trying to push their agenda. Thank you for creating these videos.
Thank you so much for that comment. What was your name?
I end it with a nice comment always. Rachel.
Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. We appreciate you watching, and we're so glad you're able to learn something and don't do some of the silly things we talk about that people do on our channel. Yes. Protect yourself.
So that ends it for today. Thank you guys so much again for all your comments. Leave your comments down below for to be featured on next week's video. Thanks, and enjoy your Sunday.
Have an awesome weekend. Oh, it's Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving,
yeah,
everybody.
that's right. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, bye.